The other day, I was in a comedy show in DC, and somebody asked me, "Hey, you're the guy from Africa?" I said, "Yes." He said, "So you want to be the next Michael Blackson in the US?" I said, "Why you say that? Because I'm funny like him?" He said, "No, because you're dark like him." I'm like, "Oh, that's weird." And he said, "You say what's your name again?" I say, "JC Tanon." He said, "You should change that." I say, "Why? And to what?" He said, "You should call yourself JC Black Nun." And he started laughing again. I said, "You again?" And I was a little bit offended at first, but at the end I found it really cool. Black Nun. It sounds like a superhero name for black folks people or dark-skinned people. You know, that man that can just blend into the shadows and steal all your snacks without you noticing. And the helicopter police would be like, "Oh, we lost him." And I would be like, "I'm here." But I would not laugh with my teeth like this, because if I open, they're going to find me. Yes, and talking about my name, JC, just the initial of my first name. My first name is Julio Cesar. I have a Spanish name. You don't believe it? Even me, I can't believe it either. And I can tell you that I speak Spanish too. And I speak Spanish more than some Spanish speakers speak French. And more than some Americans speak French. Because I can definitely tell you when somebody is struggling to say, "Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?" That means, "Do you want to sleep with me tonight?" in the soft way. But in the aggressive way, "Do you want to have problems tonight?" No, "Do you want to fuck with me tonight?" That's what it means. And most Americans know the sentence, and mostly your grandma. I'm an Uber driver, and I pick up a grandma the other day. She was excited to know that I speak French. And she was like, "Hey, I know some words in French also." I say, "Really?" She said, "Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?" I say, "No, grandma, nobody want to do that. Nobody want to do that." And you guys should stop thinking that hablo español, that means I speak Spanish, but that doesn't mean that when you see me, you will guess that I'm from Dominican Republic. Stop doing that. I could be from Cuba, from Mexico. I could be from Walmart. I could also be from another country like Cameroon. Yes, I'm from Cameroon. And my first time to be in the Spanish country is actually when I moved in the US. You don't believe it? You guys have more Spanish speakers than Spain. That's why I say it's my first time to be in the Spanish country. And I will tell you that 3 years ago when I moved here, I was happy to use the name Julio Cesar, because that was the first time for me to eat in two different plates, with black people and with Spanish guy. I even got a security job thanks to my name, Julio Cesar. The recruiter was from El Salvador. He was a Spanish guy. So he saw my resume online, and he was sure that this guy is a Spanish dude. So he scheduled me for an interview. And the day that I showed up, he walked in the hall and he said, "Who is Julio?" We were 20 of us, and I stood up. He said, "You Julio?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You know who look like Julio?" I say, "I know." He was expected to see Enrique Iglesias, but he saw Wakanda Forever. And I got the job, and I was one of the best security officers. And that was the last time for me to enjoy the name Julio Cesar, before President Trump got reelected again. And I stopped drinking my whiskey with ice. Yes, because I was 3 times in danger. Being an immigrant, having a Spanish name, and I'm black too. So they might deport you 3 times in one sentence. So I was like, no, let me switch the name and call myself JC to sound a little bit American. So if a police officer pulled me over, it would be like, "Julio?" I say, "No, I'm JC."